Hello, and once again, we are live with the Modern Mystery School UK EU podcast and YouTube channel. And today we are joined by Cassandra. Cassandra in Tasmania. My goodness, how are you?
I am very well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, well, we are excited because we've been discussing this topic of why I wanted a spiritual guide. And I'd be really interested because you come from training professional athletes and that the physical well-being industry. So why did you then want a spiritual guide?
Yeah, well, it's just logical, really, in some parts, because when you are, because I come from the fitness background, training, coaching, sport teams, training individuals, it's very, if you want to do good, then you speak to someone who has the experience in it. So there is, of course, you can just jump online and select it running. Like if you want to run 10 kilometers, for example, you can just jump online and get a plan and off you go. But after a while, you want to start seeing yourself doing better and better. So you would employ someone then who can spot out your weaknesses and help you improve and encourage you along the way. Now, of course, you're not going to employ just anyone to do that. You're going to employ someone who's done it before and has helped other people do it as well. So for me, it was quite logical to want that as well. But the thing is, it's a bit tricky because spirituality, it doesn't really appear to be something that is guided necessarily, or structured. And so when I started realizing my spiritual self and in trying to understand that aspect of me, just like many people I talk to, I do a bit of this and I do a bit of that and I do a bit of this, but it's all wonderful, but it doesn't actually really get me anywhere. And then I got to a point, right? And I did a lot of Googling and, all that sort of thing. I got to a point I was like, oh, hang on a minute. I really need someone, a school with the structure, with the structure in place so that I have something to cling on to, something to use in my own development. However, this is where it doesn't be, the logic kind of, where two things can be true, because in the spirituality, of course, I was involved in the Kundalini yoga, and at that time that was going through a massive, where the leader was undergoing a lot of, there was a lot of things in the media about it, and allegations and, these sorts of things. And in that case, a lot of it was true, and, and whatever. I didn't get too involved. However, it puts distrust in the field, and I was very conscious of that because I didn't want to fall for something. I didn't want to be, naive in my decisions and just follow someone just simply because, oh, I'm the guru. I'm, whether that is an earned position or self-proclaimed. I didn't want to just fall for the thing. So it's luckily for me, I'm someone who's like, well, have a I have by this stage in my life built some self-confidence. So I do trust myself in decisions. And well, why don't I just try this thing and see how it works in my life? And if it works, then maybe there's something here. And I don't have to buy the whole package all at once. I can just take a little bit and make it, if it works, then that's great. usually it works. And then I have some other questions. In the case of the mystery school, for example, with Modern Mystery School, all of a sudden everything started making sense and it was working and propelling me forward. Now, for the audience who may not know, but Ipsissima Kate is my guide, right? And so I hadn't met her before we did the life activation session. And she seemed so wonderful and so lovely and very accommodating. But I'm still my own boss. I am still the person who is running the shots. What was interesting in the relationship that I built with Ipsissima Kate is that when I saw her interacting with other students and answering my questions, because also I sat in my first class with you and I made the decision not to let you off the hook. You know, like I was there for myself and I needed those questions answered. And so when I watched you contemplate those questions and then answer them, and you weren't placating me, you weren't like just telling me an easy answer, or telling, or you know, so I saw that and I was like, oh, you know, okay, well, I do trust it. Like again, I wasn't buying the whole package. It was just enough to see, to allow me to use the tools. And then once the tools showed up, fruits in my life, then I went into the next step.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think that's something that we all have in common at the mystery school, that we are very headstrong. You know, we're like, okay, well, you know, we're going to ask the hard questions, and yeah, quite rightly so, because choosing a guide, a spiritual guide, somebody that is going to support you in your growth, it's serious business, you know, and it's a great piece of advice. I love that. Just take a sample, you know. In our instance, it would be try the life activation, you know, sample that, empower thyself, use the tools, actually apply the tools, see if they work, and from that direct experience, you will know if that path is for you, you know, for you or not. So I think that's great advice. Wait, obviously, you know, what made you take that step though? I'm interested. Was it just that, okay, I'm just going to try it, or was there something else, you know, an inner knowing, or the research, or, you know, how did you take that first step, you know, with the mystery school?
Well, it was quite a leap of faith actually. And it's just like all the people that come to me in Tasmania. Usually they're traveling distances, and usually the first time they're meeting me is in the life activation session. So it's really interesting that I was living in Spain at the time. So when I flew to you, that was the first time we met. So it is very interesting to look back and say, you know, like it's like a mirrored now. It's almost like the relationship I have with you was a learning in and of itself, so that I can then be that person for other people, which is super interesting. But when I spoke with you on the phone, and made that leap of faith, let me tell you, it wasn't easy for me to get there. My husband was working in Africa. I had 2 children at home and no family support. So for me to be able to fly for a week or for 4 days or however, that's quite a big deal. But somehow magically it all aligned, you know, somehow it all worked. And that was for me a signal, that something was going on. And when I was on the plane, it was almost like an interesting experience you know, in my energetic field, that something was moving, that was starting to already shift. Being hyper independent, it's not easy to rely on someone else. You know, because I moved out of home when I was 17. I was very hyper independent my whole life. And so having a spiritual guide, you know, that almost tests my relationship with that unhealed issue that was in my life as well. So it's like a multi-dimensional relationship that you have. This is the part that doesn't make a lot of sense to some people who are very logical. But in the logic world, we are relationship beings. We learn from each other. You know, we pave paths for each other as well. We're in it together. You know, we can apply that to a sports team, you know. We can apply it in a work project. You know, we're all working together. So when you apply that logic to this, then it can start to make sense. But I just don't. There's no way I could achieve the things that I'm doing now without this particular relationship in the first place. Yeah.
I agree. Having someone there that has walked the path a little bit more, the path that whatever path you've chosen, you know, that has walked that little bit and cheering you on from the sidelines, but also, you know, giving you those little top tips of like, oh, just watch, you know, and like you said, you can relate that to, you know, being the best athletes in the world or the best sports teams or, you know, whatever it is. And, you know, with the spiritual, growth, you do need that. Do you think it's for everybody though? So what's your view? Do you have to already be spiritual to have a spiritual guide? I mean, what is this for everybody? What do you think?
Oh, that is such a funny question, considering my day, because I was at business networking from lunchtime until so until 15 minutes ago. And so no, you don't have to. We're all spiritual, whether you know it or you don't. Um, but you know, in the world that I am in, when I'm talking to, for example, a website designer, you know, when I'm speaking with you know, we all have goals and we all have a purpose. And if you can speak to that, because usually when people feel their purpose, they do have that energy to, you know, to want something more for themselves. And that I can speak to because that's what I wanted. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what you also, you know, also want. We want to improve, and it feels like my whole life has been about that, about, you know, being a bit more educated, about being a little healthier, about having a better mindset. And now it's about, you know, bringing all of those aspects all together. So if someone is talking to me, you know, the web designer, for example, and they're into fitness and they started doing breath work or something like that, you know, they're already starting to awaken to the fact that, oh my goodness, there's far more to my physical body. And that's, you know, kind of exciting when you first start realizing that. If you have like a mentor in your life that's already discovered that, and then can direct you and then, you know, or open the door to even more, then, you know, that's an amazing gift.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, just even simple things that we teach. I mean, we say they're simple things, but I mean, they're, you know, provide quantum leaps and progression. But, you know, just utilizing all your senses, both the internal and external, you know, I mean, just that alone, if an individual had that in a business setting or in a being a mother or a father or a, you know, any of those settings, you know,
I
I
know.
mean, it's just mind blowing, just being
It
able to
is.
use all 10 of your senses, you know?
It is so amazing. I taught spiritual intuition a couple of weeks ago, and to people who aren't spiritual, they aren't spiritual, but but because I'm very practical and I use these tools in my life, they came to the class because they trust. But almost everyone wants better relationships. So imagine using these tools to, to be able to hear and listen to the person speaking to you, or to better sense what they might be going through, to be more compassionate. Yeah, so it's more than just it. There's a huge picture, and I'm glad that we're here talking about it so openly, so that there's something for people to grasp hold of. Like, it's not so lofty, it's not so, intangible, I suppose.
Yeah, just, I mean, learning about the aura, learning about how you actually can nourish all parts of your body, your not just your physical body, your soul and your spirit. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, it's just so invaluable. I mean, we know that, and I hope that doing these podcasts will help others understand that it is vital for physical success to have spiritual progression.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's like body, mind, and soul, right?
Yeah.
So, and then working it with, combining it, and working it all as one complete system,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've run over because we're just chit-chatting about amazing, important things,
Yeah.
but thank you so much. Thank you. I know it's nighttime there, so thank you for joining us. And I know you'll be back on the show. But
Yes.
if people want to get in touch with you, Cassandra, what's your website?
Withlovecassandra.com.
No, Cassandra.
Yeah. Yes, that's it. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to get in touch with Cassandra, please get in touch with her, and I know she'll be able to jump on a call with you and chat. Yeah, so thank you so much, and thank you everybody for joining.